Frederick Law Omlsted is considered to be the father of landscape architecture. It was a mid-19th century visit to Birkenhead Park in Liverpool, England, a rare public park open to all people, that changed his life and design philosophy.
I was ready to admit that in democratic America, there was nothing to be thought of as comparable to this people's garden.
Olmsted's career took another dramatic turn in 1857 when Calvert Vaux, an English architect, asked Olmsted to join him in preparing an entry for the Central Park design competition. Together, they created the winning Greensward Plan, an unprecedented design that forever changed the landscape of Manhattan. By 1865, Olmsted turned full-time to the practice of landscape architecture. And as America grew more urban, Olmsted saw the need to restore people's connection to nature.
Parks are to provide city dwellers with a sense of enlarged freedom. They are the lungs of the city, offering spaces that foster physical and mental well-being, making them the most valuable of all possible forms of public places.
His revolutionary vision of a democratic public space where people from differing social classes could mix captured the imagination of city planners and spread across the country. 2022 marked the bicentenary of Olmsted's birth, and the Garden Club of America wanted a way to commemorate the occasion. So, what in Santa Fe, situated in the otherworldly northern New Mexico mountains, could possibly pay tribute to and fulfill Olmsted's vision of public spaces? Glad you asked. Amelia Elizabeth White was born in 1878 into a world of culture and privilege on the Upper East Side of Manhattan. It wasn't until 1913 that Amelia came to New Mexico for the first time to visit a Bryn Mawr classmate living on a ranch near Wagon Mound. On that trip, she declared New Mexico to be heavenly country.
Amelia Elizabeth White and her sister Martha, who came here to Santa Fe in the mid-1920s, are two of the most outstanding citizens this city has ever had. They have left their mark on everything that's good and enduring about this city, in my opinion.
10 years later, Amelia and her sister Martha took a road trip in an open Lincoln touring car that would change their lives. En route to California to view a solar eclipse, they stopped in Santa Fe to get their hair done, decided to stay, and bought some land, or so the story goes. 1923 Santa Fe was a very different city than what we see today. But the White sisters saw something in their new home.
It's not Tesuque, alas, but towards Sunmount, the last adobe in that direction, with such heavenly views.
These heavenly views were found on the southeastern edge of town, along a dusty dirt road frequented by goat herders, called Garcia Street. They named their home El Delirio, the Madness, after a bar in Seville, Spain.
When we found El Delirio, we knew we were home.
The sisters transformed their property into an eclectic estate that served as a gathering place for artists, writers, intellectuals, anthropologists, and archaeologists during the 1920s and 30s. Amelia worked to promote a broader acceptance of Native American art and strove to demonstrate the contributions of the first Americans. She also became a community activist concerned with Native health, Native arts, and preserving Native lands and culture. Upon her death in 1972, Amelia left El Delirio to the School for Advanced Research as a legacy gift. But that wasn't all. Over the years, Amelia, once the largest landowner in Santa Fe, donated land for the construction of the Laboratory of Anthropology, the Wheelwright Museum of the American Indian, the Museum of Navajo Ceremonial Art, the Garcia Street Club, the Folk Art Museum, the Botanic Garden, and the Santa Fe Animal Shelter. All this brings us to the Amelia White Park.
The Flow 200 project originated with a program designed by the Garden Club of America that all of their member chapters were tasked with some kind of park project to honor Frederick Law Omlsted and the 200th anniversary of his birth. We picked this park because it had the formal park bones that originated with Olmsted. He designed Central Park, and it was in terrible shape and needed to become a public space again.
Our initial investment in this park is already reaping rewards. we're already finding that members of the community are responding most favorably to this park and to our investment in it. I think our involvement with Amelia White and knowing what a supporter she was of the Garden Club and the Garden Club of America probably was something that helped us to get to that point.
Well, no one is certain when the 3-acre area became a park. Architect John Gaumein's drawings from 1954 show the Central Courtyard and Rose Garden laid out much as it exists today. On June 16, 1966, Amelia deeded the park to the city of Santa Fe with the express conditions that the land be used solely as a public park and that the flowers and vegetation be cultivated and irrigated. In April 1995, the National Park Service granted Santa Fe National Historic Trail certification to just 3 sites: the Plaza, Fort Marcy, and the Amelia White Park. In the certification agreement, the city of Santa Fe committed to the sensitive management of these sites for public use and enjoyment.
Well, from the very beginning, we started with some of our civic partners that we feel have a common mission, that as the Garden Club, the master gardeners who do all kinds of great projects across the city, seed saving, they have classes, they are the experts in local plant material. We contacted Wendy Wilson, who was then the president of the Master Gardeners of Santa Fe.
I live just down the street from this park, and I just was really excited about her vision about what this park could be after so many years of neglect. We have a tremendous opportunity in Santa Fe to really bolster our ecological impact in such a great way.
Here in New Mexico, I think it's absolutely vital that we focus on native vegetation. You know, if you're using native plants, then you're also being respectful to the severe drought that we are in and the lack of water as a resource. City parks and green belts throughout Santa Fe and New Mexico with native vegetation is quite imperative.
Well, it really came from the Garden Club because they approached us. They were looking for a spot to invest some money and time into for Olmsted's 200th anniversary. And they contacted our city horticulturist with an interest in doing this. So our contributions were some irrigation repairs, I think some work with the club in selecting plants, getting them to the site.
Well, working with the landscaper to make sure that they had everything that they needed, getting them access, helping with the repairs of the irrigation, make sure the water was on and off and on and off, till we finally found all of the leaks, because there were a few leaks in that area that needed to be taken care of.
Caitlin Haas is with the Xerxes Society. The Xerxes Society has had a relationship with the Santa Fe Garden Club.
I am the Southwest Pollinator Conservation Specialist, and through that position, I do a lot of education and outreach with the community and was connected with the Santa Fe Garden Club through that. When planting for pollinators, there's one thing you really need to consider, and that's the diversity of pollinators that we have here in New Mexico. All of our native pollinators, the thousands to hundreds of species that we have in New Mexico, all evolved with our native plants in the area. So including those native plants is really key.
Bees are essential for cross-pollination, and they only have a limited distance, so Caitlin was very involved in pollinator islands across the city, and we tried to pick up on that thread and created a pollinator island here and encourage people to plant pollinator islands in their own homes. And the Audubon Society, again, Garden Club is filled with bird watchers, and the part of the design of the plant material here was bird habitat. They all kind of go together, the birds, the bees, the flowers. It's kind of a whole mini universe of things that benefit our climate and our gardens here, look, in Santa Fe.
I think we really need to build on these types of partnerships, enrich our parks so that they're all in really good shape, really maximize what they're doing. Part of it is really having superintendents that feel connected to a space and really, put the love and care into it. And the horticulture crew, really loves to do that. So I feel like it's been a great move to get you aligned with that park, because there's so many elements that kind of have gone by the wayside that need to be a little tender care will help bring that in there.
I think as we look at the various aspects of the park in time, we will see that there are many other areas that could be explored and enhanced and beautified, and would allow the community to have many more types of engagements.
The partnership that the city has with people who volunteer, like the Garden Club, that's what, again, is so remarkable about Santa Fe. The city government as an entity is really about that big. We have a great team, our parks team, our rec team, our public works team, but a city government that big can't do a project like this and other ones around our community without a volunteer group that's that big. And that's the secret sauce of Santa Fe. It's the volunteers, it's the Garden Club, it's the people whose booths are along the way here, tables that remind us that we are all in this together. My gratitude goes to you all. Thank you very, very much for a special day and a special place. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you so much from the bottom of our heart.
Remember you.
Most nonprofit organizations just can't survive without partnering with other organizations, whether they're governmental or they're other nonprofits. And I think what was important today to hear was the importance of volunteers and how important volunteers are to the city, but also to every nonprofit organization in this town.
It was just really inspiring to come here and see all the plants starting to bloom and smell all the roses and hear the bees and the birds and everything.
It's a wonderful representation of the Garden Club and bringing the community together to restore a historic piece of Santa Fe.
I used to walk and drive by here almost daily, and I said how flat it looked when it was going to be in disrepair. And now it's such magnificent changeover.
Well, so I came up to this park a couple months ago just to explore it, and it was completely empty. Like, there was nothing here. And driving up today and seeing all the flowers and all the people was just really, really cool to see, and really cool to see this project come together as I've been watching it the past couple months.
Beautiful park. I had to fight for a parking space this morning. We had so many people coming. Dog friendly, she loved it. And I hope it's a precedent for other parks here in Santa Fe for the Garden Club and everybody. This is such a wonderful green space. I hope it continues.
You know what absolutely thrilled me was the fact that the planting of the plants is absolutely amazing. The perennials, they're going to be absolutely beautiful next year or the year after that. And anyone who comes will get an idea of what Santa Fe gardens can really look like, that take little maintenance and have such beauty. And I want to compliment the Garden Club for making this an outstanding effort with the city. It just is amazing.
Finding this common goal between many different organizations is really key and brings a synergy to these projects.
Civic partnerships in Santa Fe and throughout New Mexico are a great way to continue the educational purposes, as well as collaborating with like-minded people and having this opportunity to restore and bring the Amelia White Park back to its natural state, and its grandeur is already been welcomed among, the neighbors and people throughout Santa Fe. As Santa Fe continues to grow, having beautiful outdoor spaces and city parks for people of all ages is going to become a very vital asset.
It allows us to bring in the pretty, the pollinators, the knowledge about native habitat, native plants. It's good for everybody.
We leave you with Olmsted's own words, written in 1858 upon winning the Central Park Design Competition.
The park throughout is a single work of art, and is such subject to the primary law of every work of art, namely that it shall be framed upon a single noble motive, to which the design of all its parts, in some more or less subtle way, shall be confluent and helpful. you.